Hi, I'm Lauren Chusicknott. I'm the editor-in-chief of Jezebel, and I'm here at the Jezebel and Paste magazine interview house in Austin, Texas at high noon at South by Southwest. And I'm here with Shannon Triplett, the writer and director of Desert Road, which is the fucking most insane film I've seen in recent memory. So, first of all, are you okay?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
I am okay. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, this is what you write during the pandemic, so.
Okay. Oh my God, that makes perfect sense. Okay, so without giving it away, it's about a woman who crashes her car in the middle of the desert, and she goes to find help, and
Just
it's
mayhem from
mayhem.
there. Yes,
It's mental
yeah.
mayhem. It's mental mayhem. It's mental torture, but in a good way, in like a way that's very enjoyable.
Yeah,
Like,
we're really selling this movie. Yeah, this is great.
It is
great what
so.
It is.
It is so good. It is so fucked up, but it is so good. Which is my favorite kind of movie.
Mine
But
too.
I don't even know where to start. I guess how did you come to this idea? Like, what was the beginning?
Yeah. I think some of the best stories begin for me when I'm on road trips. Like when you're outside of your comfort zone and you just see different parts of the world, it just always inspires new ideas. And I love going out to the desert. The desert is just such an otherworldly place.
Where are you from?
I'm from Iowa originally,
Okay.
but I'm out in Los Angeles now. So like
Okay.
the desert, you can get there in like 3 hours. So it's like you can go out there for a weekend when you're in LA.
Okay.
So it's a great place to kind of get away from the chaos of the city. But the desert and the people who live in the ruralness of the desert are just such interesting characters that it's like a trip. And it's like just such a good inspiration kernel where you kind of go out there and it's like, yeah, everything kind of looks the same. And these characters are just so unique and have such different kind of social interactions than normal. Just such the film goes from there, but that's kind of the beginning of the start.
Did you have an experience like this in the desert?
Not exactly like this, but I had gone out to the desert on one of these trips, and my boyfriend went for an 18-mile run. And I did not go for an 18-mile run. He did, and he kind of ran out of energy and crashed and called me to come pick him up. And his cell phone was dying, and it was getting dark. And in the desert, it's not like there's road signs telling you turn in 5 feet now. And I just couldn't find him. And it was kind of just this like panic moment of we were having such a nice day. And then suddenly as it turned to night, it was such a completely different environment. I was like, is he going to faint on the side of the road? And where is he? And so this movie isn't about that, but it's about that feeling of you're having just such a normal day. And then everything is just totally flips on its head. And the desert does that, like it's just so hot. If you crash your car, you need to figure things out real fast.
Yeah. And that feeling was so like visceral throughout the movie, which I won't give away anything, but it's starring Kristien Froseth, who carries the whole movie. She's incredible. Amazing. And I really felt the whole time. I mean, her phone dies. The gas station attendant is maybe a creep, maybe not.
Yeah.
And there's no one, there's nothing, there's no service. It's getting darker. And I just felt, I was like, oh my God, I am trapped. I was like, how do I get out of here? And it felt so real, and I could just really feel myself like in this movie being like, well, I guess I'm screwed.
Yeah, Kristien does such a great job of like carrying us through that journey. And I think it starts out, it's a woman on her own, and as a woman you kind of go, oh, you got to be safe, got to be careful. But then as things go on, I think, a guy or a gal, if you were in that situation, you kick into the survival instinct. But yeah, Kristien, we have to talk about Kristien. She's amazing. She's
fantastic.
She's captivating, and the movie is her. Like she carries. She's in every scene. You know, she's just incredible. We just had to have a great actor to have any sort of a movie, and Kristien does not disappoint. There's so many scenes where she's just on her own, and I mean, I shot this movie and we edited it, and still, even when we were in the premiere yesterday, I'm still leaning forward, just staring at Kristien. Like, she's just that special. So
she really does. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those roles where, like, after watching it, I was like, no one else could have done this. And also, she just did such a great job of almost going through the 5 stages of grief of, like, you know, panic and then acceptance and then kind of just like, well, I guess this is where I die. Like, and it was just, like, I felt like I was right there with her, like, processing which we won't say what's happening, but I mean, I guess an easy way to say it, it's kind of like a, like, fucked up Groundhog's Day in the desert.
Yeah. What's
a little
funny
bit.
Is, like, everybody says something different about what this movie is. And I think there's just something about, you know, watching somebody go through this that we all relate to her in a different way and relate to the story in a different way. But yeah, I was chatting with somebody the other day, and they're like, if that was me, I would just stand there and cry. And I go, I think I probably would have started with that. But then when there's nobody around to help you, like, what are you going to do? And eventually those tears are going to dry. You're going to have to figure it out.
That is so interesting what your reaction would be if you were in that moment. Yeah. So wait, what would you do?
I would just stand there. I'm sort of like a deer in a headlight in unknown situations where your brain just tries to compute like, wait a second, what is this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely hang on a second.
I feel like one aspect of it is Kristine's character tries to get her car unstuck because it's like stuck on a boulder. I feel like I would have died trying to lift the car off the boulder.
Yeah.
I feel like that's all I would have done. And it's just been like, I will figure out a way to, like, I just would have been just, eventually I'm sure the car would have, like, crushed me.
Yeah, that's the incredible thing about working with an actor like Kristien is she was just up for anything. And this isn't anything like a documentary at all, but we had moments where we called it wild time, where we said, okay, Kristien, this is your goal. And Nico, our cinematographer, just try and capture this and let's see what happens. And trying to get the car off the boulder was one of those moments where we're like, Kristien, have a go at it. Like, try to get this car off the boulder. What are you going to do?
Kristien, have fun. Yeah. We're just going to film you and hope you fail.
So yeah, she's what an incredible gift to work with somebody like her who's up for just doing crazy things like that.
And do you feel like, this is kind of a lame question, but do you feel like there's a message from the film you wanted to evoke, or do you just feel like I had this crazy idea and I made this crazy movie?
Oh, I don't think that's a lame question. I think you tell stories for a reason, and the movies that I love the most are ones that maybe don't have a message, but ask a question. And this, it's, you know, the main character was trying to be a photographer, and at the very beginning of the movie, we start when she's given up on that dream. And I think it's just such an interesting question. I think, you know, I thought people in creative fields would, you know, feel this, but I think what's been fascinating is how many other people have related to this, where this is just about somebody who is kind of at a fork in the road in their life. You know, at some point when you're 5, you maybe want to be an astronaut and the president. And at some point you have to go, okay, that's a dream and that's maybe not reality. And this character, you know, we start when she's at that fork in the road. It's like, how realistic is it that she's actually going to be able to be a photographer versus when do you keep going and when do you find a new dream? And that's something, man, how many forks in the road have I had in my life? You know, I think we've all, whether it's professionally or personally or even where to move, you know, there's just something about that I think we all, it's a very human thing.
Oh, absolutely. There was one moment where she is talking on the phone with her mom, and she was just like, I'm not paid to be a photographer. All the jobs go to men. There's no one looking out for me. I'm all alone. Like, it's not happening. And I was like, I had that conversation with my mom when I was 24.
Yeah. Last week,
Yeah, I was like, I just texted my mom.
Yeah, there's just some of those moments that there's so few like mom characters in movies. I love that scene, and I love how both Kristien performed in it, and we had Rachel Dratch on
Rachel
the phone
Dratch
on the other
is
side,
the mom.
and there's just something so nice about how they did that scene, and it just feels real. Like you watch it and go, oh yeah.
I was like,
we've been
oh,
there.
same. Yeah, crazy. And I guess also, what has your journey to being a filmmaker been? What were some of the films that changed your life or that inspired you coming up?
Yeah, when I was younger, I was in a science class, and they showed Contact right before winter break, mainly so the teacher probably got a couple days off early from winter break. And we didn't quite finish it before winter break, and I was like, okay, so after we come back, we'll finish the third act of Contact, right? She's like, no, we'll move on from our astronomy lesson and watch something else. And I was just like, what? We have to see what happens. And I dragged my mom to the library so we could rent Contact and I could watch it. And I really became obsessed with astronomy for years and years.
Okay.
And I also think it's impacted where it was like, okay, no, I wasn't meant to be an astronomer. I fell in love with because I love stories. And I've been a writer for many years. This is the first project I've directed, but as a writer, yeah, there's so many great stories that impact. But Contact was definitely one of them.
That's a great answer.
And I think directing came out of there's so many people who they want to be a director, and I love telling stories. So it came from I love writing stories, and I just wanted to carry on and tell it this way as well.
Okay, well, speaking personally, I hope you keep telling those stories that are crazy and fucked up and give me a panic attack because they're fantastic. And yeah, go see Desert Road, starring Kristien Froseth, directed by Shannon Triplett, directed and written by Shannon Triplett, here at South by Southwest. Thanks so much for being here.